EA Sports. It's in the game.
Limitless. The ability to break free. To experience golf in ways you never thought possible. Taking your game to levels once only dreamed of. Welcome to the next generation of golf. This is EA Sports Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. Hello again, everyone. This is Rich Lerner here to walk you through some lessons on how to play EA Sports Rory. So many historic moments have played out before our eyes in major championships, and today, two of the top players in the world are set to tee off. Rory McIlroy holding a one-shot lead over Martin Kaymer. It's the final round of the U.S. Open Championship at Chambers Bay.
Going into, the final round of any golf tournament with a chance to win, especially a major championship, it's a huge buzz. That's the only way I can describe it. It's the best feeling a golfer can have because you're in the mix and you're in with a chance to win one of the biggest tournaments in the world. It's an incredible feeling. It's something that you may only get to experience a handful of times in your life. So, that atmosphere, you want to soak it in as much as you can and really enjoy it.
Rory McIlroy coming off a strong performance yesterday, now making his way to that first tee box and looking to add another major championship trophy to his already growing collection.
And Rich, there's no doubt both golfers will be nervous until they get that very first tee shot under their belt.
The first tee shot is probably the most difficult because you've been thinking about that shot since the night before. Once you get that first shot out of the way, you calm down, you're a little more settled, you're not quite as anxious or nervous, and you sort of get into the rhythm of the round. You want to get off to the best start possible, and obviously that starts with that first tee shot.
Well, here he is, Rory McIlroy, a past U.S. Open champion, about to tee off on what should be an historic day of golf alongside the beautiful Puget Sound. Frank looked like a nice balanced swing.
Well, the free-flowing action that we find synonymous with Rory McIlroy in display, even under the nervousness of an opening tee shot in the final round of a US Open, and just blitzed it down the fairway.
That one carried a long ways, stayed up in the sky forever. That was just a beautiful drive. He hit it solid and right in the middle. Perfect lie here, Frank. What's Rory got?
Well, I'll expect something just slightly right of the flag. You want to avoid the hill and the bunkers on the right, and there's a little bit of a gut or a chasm just over that left side of the green. So left, not a good option.
About 145 yards away. Seems to like it. Headed for the fat part of the green. Looks to be a good one, Frank.
Oh, nestles inside 15 feet. So a birdie chance coming up for Rory.
Frank, not only does Rory McIlroy have the physical tools that you need to be a dominant player, but he thinks clearly. Good head on his shoulders.
And he's in that rare company, 4 more majors under the age of 25. You're looking at Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, the only other two that come to mind. And the styles of play, they're all different. And Rory plays his way. And I think you have to be a pioneer. You have to realize that your way of playing the golf is superior, because to imitate at this level, you will not be successful. A birdie straight out of the gate.
Beautifully done.
I think making putts early in a round is very important. It sets the tone for the day and it gives you some positive momentum early. You see the ball go into the hole and it gives you confidence. You face a downhill putt at a US Open with greens that are as tricky as that, it just makes it even more difficult. I feel like you always face important putts no matter when it is, but obviously they're that much more important when it's the final round of a major.
Now over to the second McIlroy with a challenging downhill putt. Frank, I know it's early, but if he drops this could really spark some momentum for the round.
But this putt will be very, very quick. You've got to be careful because the ball can quite easily take off once it gets past the hole.
He can really get red hot with a putter. Let's see what McIlroy does. Down on the bottom of the barrel. Good start for Rory McIlroy. Back-to-back birdies. So second shot here at the fourth, and this one sets up pretty well for McIlroy, doesn't it, Frank?
It's an easy one for him to work out. A little bit uphill, perhaps a club. And with 165 yards, playing closer to 170, 175, still a birdie opportunity. It's a good strike, good swing by McIlroy, and no problem finding the putting surface.
He'd love to get this one. Big putt for birdie.
How did that not go in? Now a putt for par.
Never a bad score on the card. That's par.
There's some times when there might be a wait on a tee box, or you've played your shot and you're waiting on your playing partners to hit their shots, and you just look around and you realize where you are, because you don't really you don't appreciate it that much whenever you're playing, and that's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about trying to win a golf tournament and not really taking in the beauty of your surroundings.
So McIlroy set to tee off here on the long par 3 ninth hole, appropriately named Olympus for its high perch above the course. Just a stunning view.
And Rich, there's a great view from the front of this tee. You can really get a sense of the elevation change. Big drop off, so consequently you're going to hit a club or two less than you normally would for that yardage. And the green, that shapes a little bit to the player's right. So this one is going to have to be all carry.
This is a good-looking shot. Safely aboard. Not a gimme, but well within his range. Came to the putt excited to make birdie. Now, settle for par.
Yeah, a little change in the attitude right now. When you've let one go, you've got to really knuckle down there and make sure you don't drop a shot. It's important that this one goes in.
And just like the lone fir tree, there is now just one man with the lead, Martin Kaymer. Rory now in second behind Kaymer, looking at a difficult second shot here at the par 3 15th.
Missed the green on the left, Rich. Just that pot bunker between him and the hole. And there's only about 8 or 9 feet of green to work with. So this flop shot is going to have to be hit very high to make sure that ball lands soft. And at this point, it's critical to save par.
And he's made it onto the green.
Rich, you get that feeling. If there's going to be a moment, I think that moment is now.
Trying to clean this up, make his par. And he has it.
A good putt redeems all.
Final few holes to play, especially of a major championship like the US Open. It's what you've worked so hard for. It's what you've put all those hours of practice in for, and this is your moment. This is your moment to see what you've got against the best players in the world and test yourself at the ultimate level. There's obviously a lot of pressure, You know, you don't want to let an opportunity like this pass you by. You don't want to let it slip. So just stay really focused, really concentrated. Try to take one shot at a time. Try and put the result out of your mind. Control what you can control. But saying that, it is difficult with so many things going on around you, whether it be the crowd, or it could be the person that you're going up against. You know, there's so many things that you can't control, but you know, the things that you can control, that's what you have to concentrate on, and that's what you have to try and, you know, do to the best of your ability. And if you can do that, that's what gives you the best chance to try and win a huge tournament like the US Open.
You couldn't ask for much more than what we have right here. Two former US Open champions, 17th hole, tied for the lead, Martin Kaymer and Rory McIlroy.
And Rich, it's easy to remember these types of situations, and it's as much about mental toughness as anything right now. The 17th hole is named Derailed, and I'm sure it's a great test for both men's mental toughness.
Let's see what McIlroy does now with his second. Rory now for par to put a little pressure on Kaymer. That's just a poor putt right there. No other way to say it. And a drop shot, a bogey at 17. Clean this up with a tap. Well, too bad. He gives one back. Frank, this has been just a fantastic week, and these last few shots are going to determine the entire championship.
Rich, normally you'd think par on the 72nd hole would be good enough to win a US Open, but this par 5 is certainly reachable by these players. Par, no doubt, will not be good enough.
What a great drive on the final hole.
You know, Rich, so often we associate US Opens with just a straight slog, par after par, but this is a real treat. Kaymer at his best, McIlroy at their best, playing anything other than US Open style. This is a totally different generation.
Brilliant golf by the two Europeans. What a shot. I mean, McIlroy just aired it out.
If there was any risk there, it certainly didn't look like it.
You could hear a pin drop right now. It all comes down to this. Rory McIlroy to win the US Open. Pretty good stroke right there. Just hit it through the break.
Well, it's that sort of distance. If it goes in, it's a bonus.
McIlroy now trying to apply a little pressure to Martin Kaymer. This is for birdie. Maybe a misread right there. Rory McIlroy looking to take advantage with this putt. The door was open, but Martin Kaymer slammed it shut. Kaymer, the US Open champion yet again. It came down to the final hole. Kaymer really put on a show. This will forever be remembered as one of the best finishes in major championship history.
Lose a lead, or you lose a major, or you know, it doesn't quite work out the way you had hoped. You know, at that moment in time, there's obviously a lot of disappointment, but I think that passes, and you use that as motivation for the next one. And that's the only way you can view it. You can't feel sorry for yourself, or you can't get down about it, because what's happened's happened. The past is the past, and you move on. But you use it as motivation not to let it happen again. You know, my toughest loss was the 2011 Masters, when I had a 4-shot lead going into the final round, and you completely blew up on the back nine. You know, it was a very tough moment for me. It was very disappointing, but I used that as motivation to say to myself, that's not going to happen again. That's not the player I am. That's not the player I want to be. And you know, I used it in a way that 70 days later, I won my first US Open and my first major. So sometimes disappointments can be catalysts for good things to happen in the future, and it's just how you react to it. And I feel like, you know, if you react to your disappointments in the right way, they can be very beneficial.